Welcome, Greek U Nations, episode number 564 of the Fraternity Foodie
Ooh,
Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous, Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I am a huge fan of the television show Shark Tank. It is a family-friendly show that my kids absolutely love to watch with us, their parents, which,
yes.
by the way, is an amazing thing. And it started great conversations in our house about
Oh, that's
entrepreneurship,
great.
the use of money, new
Yep,
ideas for their products and services that came up in their heads. So I would highly recommend that you watch this show as a family, no matter who you are, because I think
right.
only good things can come from all of those conversations while you're watching this show. So, our next guest was actually on Shark Tank, so I'm super excited about this interview. Gayla Bentley has dedicated her life to helping others become comfortable in their own body through discovering their personal style. Gayla perceives obstacles as opportunities, always looking for the next new thing to learn and to educate people about style while having fun doing it. Her campaign for size inclusivity and her desire to bring style to women with curves has been a lifelong pursuit. Residing in Houston, Texas, with her husband Russell and their dog Skipper Bentley, Gayla says, though she grew up in Westerly, Rhode Island, and lives in Houston, Texas, her heart is actually at home in Paris. Love it.
Uh,
Welcome to the show, Gayla.
merci, monsieur. How exciting. How exciting.
It's so
Um,
exciting to have
so
you
thrilled
on
to
the
be here
show.
today. Yes, so
Fantastic,
thrilled to be with you.
fantastic.
I
Well,
can't believe
let's,
I
yeah,
can
go
believe you have your sixth book, but it's interesting because it aligns with my book somewhat too, which is very exciting,
ahead.
which we'll talk about. But what would you like to talk about first? There's so many great things that we can share with people.
Oh my goodness, there's so much to talk about. And let's get started first with your early age, because I think that's where everything forms in terms of
It
your
does.
passion and your career
Yes.
and everything that you're motivated to do. So you were devoted to style and fashion at a very early age. How early on in life did you know that style was going to be your career for life?
Since I was 12,
Wow.
because I went to a Catholic school and wore a uniform.
Hmm.
And then when you finish Catholic school, you have to, the next schools are going to be real clothing in real public schools. And then college, people aren't wearing a uniform. And my mother didn't know what to do with me because my uniform was the same every day for, 7 years. And then all of a sudden, I needed clothes. To make a long story short, there weren't a lot of clothes for chubby tomboys in Westerly, Rhode Island. So it was the Montgomery Ward catalog or nothing. But one day she drove me to the big city and gave me a credit card. She goes, go into Lane Bryant, buy whatever you need for school. Go in there, and the ladies try to help me. They put me in the dressing room. I put on an outfit, and I said, "Oh my God, I look like my grandmother." These women don't even know what they're doing. They don't know how to educate me on how to educate myself. And I honestly, that moment, felt the sky part, and God said, don't worry, Gayla. I'm going to teach you how to dress, and then you're going to teach people how to dress for the rest of your life. And that's the day it started.
Wow, amazing. You knew since 12. I'm jealous. I wish that I
Yeah.
knew what I was going to do for life at 12 years old. That would have made the whole process so much easier.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's easier, but it certainly helps when you have a direct path.
Yes, you had a direct path. And you decided on
Yeah.
the University of Rhode Island for your undergraduate
Yes.
experience. So I'm wondering, why did you choose URI?
Well, I fortunately was accepted to other schools, but my parents both went to the University of Rhode Island. And so, I wanted to follow in their footsteps. And then it was a short commute if I did want to go home. It was only 40 minutes away because Rhode Island's the smallest state in the country.
Mhm.
And that particular year, they opened the very first co-ed dormitory called Project 70, and I got accepted into that. And I would be in a co-ed dorm. And then I became an RA that same year as a freshman, which was unheard of. And so everything just really was exciting for me there. I started my own business on campus called Gala Affairs, where I dress people, especially professors or the doctors in the medical area because they had the money to spend, and it helped me raise money for my tuition. I had 4 jobs. And when I left URI, after having a lot of fun parties at the Greek universities, very good
Hey,
social environment.
very good social events.
Any time of the day or night, pretty much you can find something fun to do, or do sports together, or just have a great time.
Mhm.
And when I left the university, one of my clients called me from college and said, I just inherited all this money, and I'd like to know if I could take you to Europe for 3 months and you'd buy me a new wardrobe. And I'm like, and I just moved to Houston, Texas. I said, 24 hours ago, I was in Houston. You didn't think about it then? She goes, well, I just got the money this morning. I go, that's not a problem. I'll go. So before I left on this trip, I interviewed with the #1 fashion store in Houston. And I said, I'm going to Europe for 3 months. When I get back, I'd like to have a job. So I was in Europe, I would send postcards to say, the furs are great in Zurich, the leathers in Florence are fabulous, the pearls in Geneva, or this, that, and the other thing. And as soon as I get back, she hired me the next day. And my first client, my very first day of work, was the Queen of Jordan. And she spent $36,000, my first sale, my first day of work. And then everything is, you know, Saks Fifth Avenue called me about 3 months later and said, we heard you really on the scene here. We want to steal you from the store. I was so excited because I always wanted to work for Saks Fifth Avenue. I became a fashion director there for 10 years. And I met the who's who of Houston. It was all luxury. I learned so very much about style, but I've worked all ends of style. My heart still goes out to the people and the students that want to have a really good first impression, but don't necessarily have the money to just walk into a super high-end department store and buy something. So I enjoy it. And that's what my book is about. Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style. This is how I used to dress when I went into that store. An afro, polo shirt, jeans, and sneakers because no one was teaching me how to dress. And then I learned A Journey to Style. But in learning, read about my escapades and my shenanigans in this. And, with Saks Fifth Avenue, I loved all of that. I broke my neck in my 8th year working at Saks Fifth Avenue, which ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. I had wore halo and I was home for many years, and I finally wanted something exciting, and I went to Paris because my cousin lived there. And when I was in Paris for like 24 hours, and I said, I'm never leaving. I told my husband, he said, if you want to stay in Paris, you have to have a business in Paris. So I met with the expatriates in Paris at a great bar, the Lizard Lounge, and we sit around. And all these people move from all over the world to work in Paris because it's such a great opportunity. But it's so cool because they're from all different professions, lawyers, doctors, analysts, and I was in fashion. So we came up with the idea that I could start a tour business, use my clients that I had from Houston, bring them to Paris to teach them about French style. And I started co-tours. And I did that for many years, almost 10 years. And I found in Paris there were no clothes in Paris for women with curves. Everything was very small sizes. And I'm not a huge person, but I still wear a 14. But that's unheard of in Paris. So my husband said, you've been telling me this every trip all these years. Why don't you come back, learn to be a fashion designer, and start a clothing line? I did it. I started a clothing line. My first customer was Neiman Marcus. That opened the door for me to sell my luxury brand in all of these 200 stores around the world. And one day got a phone call from a major network saying, we're putting on a television show and we like your personality, because I had a lot of press. I was very fortunate because I was doing something revolutionary,
Mhm.
making clothes over a size 10. It wasn't like I developed a light bulb, but in the industry, it was a big deal. And they said, we'd like you to come on and pitch your idea to see if you can find an investor to invest in your company. And when you have your own business, you always need money. It's
Mhm.
never enough money, really. And in the fashion world, you design everything a year in advance. So you're spending a year in advance, so you need more money. It was like a God thing. It was like, thank you, God. And so we auditioned for the show. They asked us to be on the show. It was such a great experience. I brought 4 models with me and myself,
Mhm.
and had a blast with all the actors on the set. Being on the set is so exciting. I put red lip tattoos on all the men so that I would know who was in my stable, so I could count on them to drive us everywhere and get us our snacks and everything. And my red lips stand for Live in Personal Style. And that's where it's an acronym for that. So I wear red lips, and when people get an envelope for me, there's always red lips on it because I'm always promoting living in personal style. And, you know, did the deal. Two of the investors invested $250,000 for 50% of my company. And then it was really exciting because it was their first season on the show. So they were bringing us into New York a lot to ring the NASDAQ bell
Mhm.
and, do these wild things that, sit in Times Square. When a big network is going to promote something, they have the money to promote it big.
Mhm.
So it was very exciting to be involved in all of that. And then the day came to sign the papers, and we didn't feel comfortable signing the papers with them for two or three reasons, which we'll have to discuss. Or you can read the whole story in my book, Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style. It tells you the whole story of why we didn't invest. And then Damon and Barbara were so concerned that I did well that they wanted to find someone else to help me. And so they we didn't have time, but I the very next day received $1 million sales offer from a middle department store. It's the biggest order I've received at one time. $1 million is a lot of business. And for me, it was so exciting because I could design clothes at a lower price point. So I could design beautiful women clothes for women that would retail like at $40, as opposed to my things at Neiman Marcus were $400 to $700.
Mhm.
So this was not only for the size of the order, but one of my big goals on my bucket list. And they introduced me to someone. And to make a long story short, this person embezzled all of our money and never brought us the goods, and we had to close our business.
Oh,
It
heartbreaking.
was it was so heartbreaking because, as I told you about my past, it's been my mission in life. It's not just, oh, let me be an entrepreneur and open a business. It was really my mission in life was to help people identify their lifestyle, their personal style, and enhance their beauty to their fullest potential. So having to close my business was tragic. And but I always have a lot of faith. And I cried for a couple weeks, etc. And then the last day that we closed our business, I met these felons that came into my office offering to help us move our things, and they were selling banana bread. So the banana bread, of course, got me involved. And after I had to close the business, I thought about them. I thought, they helped me. Maybe I could help them because they're rehabilitating themselves. So I called
Mhm.
the agent, the service, the agency that's rehabilitating these felons. I said, I'd like to volunteer and work with the felons. And how about cleaning out people's garages? Because then you sweat the paint out. In Houston, it's so hot in the summer, especially.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't have time to think about your own pain. And I find like giving service to people, it comes back to you like three times than you give. And this was a prime example of that. And I just sweated and worked with them and learned so much. And then that opened the door to the next thing. I started doing dressing news anchors here in Houston, setting up their wardrobes and things like that. And then that opened up some other things. And then Hurricane Harvey came. We lost our whole house to the flood. That's
Oh
another. So
my
you have to go
gosh.
triumph to tragedy again. Lose the whole house. We had lived in it 30 years. And we lost everything, our wardrobes, which I'd curated from Paris and all of that.
Mhm.
And then, but God gave me an idea. I wanted to shoot a pilot for a TV show because I wanted to do a makeover show for men and women. Because remember, What Not to Wear was very popular. And matter of fact, it's coming back this week
Oh,
on
cool.
Amazon for all of you to know.
Mhm.
And I wanted to do a makeover show, but mine was going to have a whole other spin on it for another conversation. But when I went to, and Barbara was going to be the co-producer, Barbara Corcoran said, I'll be a co-producer for your show. And that would be a heavy weight behind me.
Mhm.
And I went to LA and I got set up with great pitches, people that I pitched to Warner Brothers. I've been very fortunate. God says, no, he watched me on Shark Tank. That's how I got to go to Warner Brothers. So it's interesting. The doors that open can lead you to other doors. You just follow them. And he's just a wonderful guy. Today, he's still always trying to help, but it came down to you need to be more popular. At the time, a lot of TV stars and movie stars put out their own wardrobes now, their own fashion labels. They see people make money by licensing their name. Like
Mhm.
you can find Donna Karan bed sheets, napkins, Perry Ellis done, Calvin Klein has underwear or whatever. That's how these designers make all their money and they become more popular. Well, I was Gayla Bentley with three labels, but I wasn't, now I had lost my business. And that's just when social media was starting. So I didn't have that clout to bring me to that level. So they said, "We love you. We love this show. Come back when you're more popular." So you feel like, oh, we're popular. Thank goodness. And it's so frustrating to hear those words, right?
Yeah.
So, so make another long story short, I decided to work with Tony Robbins. He's just somebody I really admire. So I decided to do a 4-day course with Tony Robbins so I could figure out how am I going to get more popular and how am I going to follow God's will for me and get to the next level? Because every time I had a tragedy, I always grew to the next level after it. I was very fortunate.
Mhm.
Like, so what's the next level for me? And through the 4 days with Tony Robbins, he is so exciting because he helps you to eliminate any stress in your body from head to toe and toe to head. So you have nothing left but an open mind to think about what it is you really want to do. He does a lot of well, what else call it like psychotherapy. You do a lot of screaming and yelling because then he gives you a question to answer. So you can focus on that question and answer it. So, like on the third or fourth day, the question is, okay, now that we've helped you to release anything that's negative or your past that gives you any kind of restraints, let's talk about your future now. What do you want to do? And the idea came to me, if I write a book and I can sell it, because if you sell these, you can become more popular.
Mhm.
That's the idea that came to me. And then he's so great, he makes you do a calendar and you have to become accountable and say, all right, I'm going to write a book. This is how long it's going to take. I will finish it in this month, in this year. And that's accountability to Tony Robbins, but most importantly to yourself. And I did it. I finished the whole book.
That's
Yay.
fantastic. Well, congratulations on all of that. I think you're right. I mean, when one door closes, another one open up for you. So now it's the book, which is super exciting. What I do want to ask you that I think would be really helpful for our college students is that I'm talking to CEOs, I'm talking to hiring managers, and many of them are talking about the way that a recent
Oh,
grad or
yes.
a soon-to-be graduate was dressed for the interview. And it's not always a positive, glowing response. So, can you help our audience? How should college students be dressing for an
Oh,
interview?
please let me help you and help them. Well, the good news is you can now buy what you need at any budget because everybody has a different budget,
Mhm.
you know. But thrifting and thrift stores have become a huge business. So that's for people that, like I paid my way through college and took, had college loans and, job stuff and like that. But like I didn't come out of college having all this money to go buy a whole new wardrobe myself.
Mhm.
And a lot of college students don't, but they're going to be interviewing and you only have one chance to make a first impression. So the first thing that's free is to make sure you have clean nails. Grooming is the number one first thing. If you have to get a haircut for $12 at Supercuts, you do that. You have to have your hair and your nails clean, and then we work our way down from the hair. Now, a look for men is a little bit of stubble. That's like, but for a job interview, I would say unless you know how to really contour it well, don't do it. Unless you're an expert at it or go to a barber, don't do it. Be clean shaven. Then we're going to talk about the clothes, starting with thrift stores. For you want to have a power look. You want to walk in there like you know what you're going to do for them. You look accomplished already, that this is not your first job, even though it is. You want to look like this person's got their act together because they have picked the right shirt, which would be a collar button-down shirt. It would be either in white, light blue, or pinstripe, blue and white pinstripe. These are the power looks, okay? And then you're going to have pants, and you're going to have not jeans, but pants. You're going to have khaki pants, gray pants, or navy blue pants. And you're going to have a belt. And your belt's going to be, can be from TJ Maxx for $12. It could be from the thrift store for $3, but it's going to look like it's a new belt. And then you're going to wear socks. And you're going to wear clean socks, and they're going to be the same color. And then you're going to wear shoes. And the shoes are going to be polished even with a cloth. And you can buy all of this for probably under $30 at a Goodwill. But you want wherever you're picking, you want no spots, no holes, and something that either you can press yourself or they have permanent press, like, the wonderful greatest invention if you don't want to iron.
Hmm.
But you want to look like you're ironed and you want to look clean, 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 clean. And then what are you going to carry? You bring your resume with you? You probably emailed it at this point. If there's anything you want to bring with you, whatever you carry that in is also an extension of your image. So if you have to borrow something from someone else, or again, you're looking in thrift stores or TJ Maxx, some kind of a leatherette, kind of a power looking cover for your resume or whatever you're putting in there to show them any kind of credentials that you want to present. But everything you carry, whatever you're wearing is going to tell the story. One chance to make a first impression.
Yeah, that's great advice. I really like that a lot. Now, I'm excited that you have the book out. The book, of course, is called The Fashion Stepsister: A Journey to Style. Talk about, I mean, obviously you've had this rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall and
Yes.
on and on. But why did you decide that you wanted this book to get out there? What should the students who are going to go out there and buy your book, what are they going to get out of it? Why put this book out?
Well, the best thing is, it's not just knowing my journey, but it's how you can make it your journey to personal style.
Mhm.
So the very back of the book, which is very exciting, has a chart.
Okay. See
This
it?
is a
Yeah.
chart that helps. If they fill this chart out, it's 100% formula that will work for you because it helps you identify your lifestyle. And then there are 20 pages after that that break everything down from eyewear to tops to bottoms to hairstyles to makeup, teaching people what to look for to have a power look. And if your mother never taught you or your father never taught you about these things, let me help you. Let me teach you. And I'm the expert. I've got decades behind me of all price points and all sizes. The odder the size, the more fun it is for me. I think no one's too big, too small, too tall, too small, too short.
Hmm.
And we're very blessed that right now in this time and place, there are sizes available for everyone. I might not love all the designs, but they are available. For the men, they have husky and talls. For the
Hmm.
athletes, they have athletic
Hmm.
clothes just for them. For the women, they have petites. I was instrumental in bringing petites and plus size into Saks Fifth Avenue because that was part of my mission. And so everybody has everything, and that's so good about the thrift stores because they divide it up into sizes. So that makes it easy for you to go and look at that. But I wanted my book to be like um, the info, one book that you could be count on to go look at. Like, how do I find a new hairstyle? How do I know, I need a new hairstyle? And I talk about, like, if you're not sure what your style is, go to a good restaurant, even if you're just getting a cup of coffee, and look around at the clientele. You want to go to a restaurant, a bar, places where the clientele are attractive. They look like they're accomplished and successful, and start studying those people because you might be like, well, that woman's wearing too many ruffles. That's not me. Or that woman's skirt is too short. That's not me. Or that woman's skirt is not short enough. So that's not me. This is matronly. I want to look more modern. And then in your brain, visually, you start to identify what and who you want to look like. And that helps you to identify your lifestyle and your personal style.
Very cool. I love it. That's fantastic. Now you're talking about all these different sizes for men and for women. What
Mhm.
advice would you give to students who are struggling in terms of their self-image or just feeling confident in their bodies?
Right. Well, it really helps if you wear the right clothes. It's a funny thing. If your clothes fit you properly, you feel better about yourself. Like
Mm.
I call it the style shakes. I get them when I see someone that's their clothes are too small because they think they're going to wait and buy new clothes when they lose weight. That's the big thing. I'm going to buy new clothes after I lose 10 pounds. But that 10 pounds could be 10 years from now. So wear clothes that fit you. And again, you don't want to spend a lot of money, then go to the thrift stores or consignment stores is another option. Oh, but Marshalls and TJ Maxx is another great option for college kids. It's not that expensive. But wearing clothes that fit you make a huge difference because people are more attracted to you. And then that boosts your self-confidence. And like if you go to a party in college, um, depending on what it is, because there are all kinds of parties, which we know. But even if you're wearing shorts, wear some cotton shorts, like Bermuda shorts, and then wear a collared shirt. It could be a short sleeve, like polo knockoff or whatever, with a belt, and then wear a pair of loafers with no socks. You be the person in the room that's setting the style because you've learned it from other people that you looked at and said, I like that style. Now you be that person that someone's looking at and says, I like that style.
Hmm.
And now, as I said, you can find all these things in all different sizes. Now, a big thing that's um, funny to talk about is your underwear. Let's talk about it. People are wearing the wrong underwear or no underwear. But the wrong underwear is worse than no underwear because the women or men that are wearing underwear that's too small, it can cause a muffin top around their waist. So they're walking into a party and they have this roll hanging over the top of their jeans or their shorts. Well, you're comfortable, but it's not an attractive look. Let's face it, the only rolls you should have are with dinner, right? So don't show the rolls. If the underwear you don't feel is attractive to the opposite sex or whatever, right now you're just worrying about yourself and how you look and how you're presenting yourself 10 pounds thinner by having on the right underwear. Women with the wrong size brasiers, the cup runneth over. Not attractive. I mean, women want to show their bosoms, they want to show their cleavage. There's a way to do it so it's still very attractive without looking like you have on something that's too small. Don't buy clothes too small. A lot of them shrink. The best clothes are 100% cotton, so you know they're going to shrink when you wash them. So try to find a blend, or if you buy 100% cotton, buy one size up so that when you wash it, because you're not going to be ironing and you dry it, it's going to shrink one size. So have less clothes, but have better clothes. Have less clothes that you took the time to decide that you like that style, you tried them on and they fit you, and they're in your closet, even if you wear the same things over and over again. It's better to be consistent than one day to look like a frump and the next day to look like Wall Street. There's no reason that you have to have such a wide gap. You need to be consistent.
Love it. Great advice as always. Fantastic. Obviously, all of our students can go and buy your book. It's called The Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style, and get all the information they need. And of course, you're available to help them as well. So all of those
Yes.
things are on the table, which is really, really great. Now, I know you love Houston, where you live there in Texas, and you're like
Mhm.
the queen of Houston. So you're the perfect person to ask because I'm going to go and pick up my daughter at Rice
Oh,
University,
ooh
and it's
la
actually
la,
happening this
university.
week. I'm going to be there
Oh,
on
that's so
Thursday. So
exciting.
where should I go for a great meal with the family?
Well, my best friends own the best Italian restaurant. Do you like Italian food?
I love Italian, of course.
Okay,
More
well, it's
carbs.
called what?
More carbs.
More carbs, more carbs. But you have to make a reservation, so you could even do it from home. Then you could tell them, of course, that I sent you. So you get it's a good table, and the food is just fantastic. It's called bombetta. It means little bomb in Italian, and
Okay.
it's probably only a 14 table restaurant, but it's right near Rice University.
Mhm.
And Patrick, he's a big soccer player. He owns the place. He's the chef, the main chef. And his wife and I do a YouTube show together, matter of fact, called Style Savvy. And he's been in the restaurant business for like 25 years, but he has mastered the Italian food and he takes people to Italy to teach them how to pair wine with food. And that's next month. He won't be here for that. But um, it's just good to be with the experts. If the experts have
Absolutely.
been the ones learning everything, those are the people to learn from.
Wow, I'm looking at the food online. I mean, the photos look incredible. That food looks absolutely
Uh-huh.
delicious. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm in for a treat this week. I'm super
You are.
excited. Now I'm gonna have a great meal. I will definitely let them know that you sent me, so
Yep.
everything's gonna be good.
And
All
I'll
right.
tell them in advance to take extra good care of you. Of
No
course.
problem. All
I love
right.
what you do. I love that you're here to educate and entertain and so much fun. I'm really excited for everything that you're doing as well. So bless you and your family and have fun in Texas and I
I
hope to see you
definitely
someday
will. I
soon.
definitely will. All right. So, if our listeners, if they want to pick up your book or they want to bring you in maybe to speak on their college campus, maybe they need
Yep.
some consulting in terms of their wardrobe, where should they go to connect with you?
Gayla at GaylaBentley.com is my website and all the information's on there. It's pretty simple. The paperback's only $14.95 on Amazon. I'd love you to leave a review. See, I'm trying to get more popular, as I told you
Yeah.
before. So I'll help you and you help me. We'll all help each other.
That sounds like a plan. All right, all of our listeners, go and buy Gayla's book on Amazon. It's called Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style. Leave a review because that's going to help her to get more popular. That's what we want. And we appreciate it. Gayla, you are just fantastic. Thank you so much for
As you
spending
are,
time
my
with us
darling.
today. We appreciate you.
Mwah. Take care, darlings. Don't forget, live in personal style.
I love it. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Gayla, I want you to like it and I want you to share it on social media with everybody on your college campus. Thanks
Oh,
so
that'd
much
be
for
wonderful.
joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.